Well, hello everyone. My name is Eva Marie Everson. I'm the director of Florida Christian Writers Conference, and I do have my favorite co-director with me.
Hello, I'm Taryn Souders, and I'm the co-director of the Florida Christian Writers Conference.
We have a very special guest with us today, Stephanie Alton, who is with the Blythe Daniel Literary Agency. Stephanie, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, like you said, I'm a literary agent. I also do marketing and publicity. So we are somewhat full circle. We do some coaching and critiquing as well. So we've got a good sense all the way around in the writing industry. And then on the home front, I live near the Gulf in Texas. Well, I live in Texas near the Gulf of America, down near Galveston. And so I'm outside in the heat and humidity quite a bit. I have two teenage boys, and I've been married for longer than I think is quite possible because there's no way I'm that old yet.
You know what,
Like,
Stephanie was really strange is it just seems like yesterday I was planning my in-laws' 50th wedding anniversary, and
uh,
right now my husband and I are planning our 50th. So you talk about being old. I mean, it's like, how did that
How did
happen?
that
And
happen?
I know.
I know. And I just told Taryn, I said, gosh, it just seems like yesterday I was doing something, but I was a teenager at the time, I think, what
Mhm.
we were talking about. I said, and then I think back on it, I'm like, that so was not yesterday. So
But it feels like it,
it
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 does.
does.
It
does.
I
does.
mean, I'll be turning 50 in January, and I don't feel 50.
No,
It was
No.
the dates were.
No.
no,
And mine's 70, and
did.
I mean, I still think I'm 16 at times, but thank goodness I'm not. So yeah, and of course now I'm gonna have my one of my favorite Glenn Campbell songs running through my mind. Galveston, oh Galveston.
Uh,
Yes, I love that song. Okay, so we've got some questions for you because, hey, everybody, Stephanie is going to be at Florida Christian Writers Conference in October. Yay!
Yay!
And so we want you to get to know her a little bit better. Taryn, take it
Right.
away.
And we not only want you to get to know Stephanie personally better, we want you to get to know like what's the deal with agents. So, Stephanie, can you please tell our audience why are agents so important?
Well, that's a loaded question in some ways, but for writers who want to get into some of the bigger publishing houses, it's nearly impossible to get in
Mhm.
without an agent. As soon as I say it's impossible to do it without an agent, somebody will be like, well, so and so did it. So there's always the exception. And,
Yeah.
like people get in. But for the most part, you need an agent to work with a larger publisher, and they know that we filter out, some folks who aren't quite ready yet,
Mhm.
and we try to send them the ones who are good possibilities. And so we keep track of what publishers are looking for. We try to keep track of what's in the works to the best of our ability. There's just sometimes projects are picked up and we don't know, or the publishers have in the works that we don't know about. But
Mhm.
we have a pretty good sense of that. And then we also have a good idea of what a good contract looks like. And for anyone who is just so excited about getting their book out and they don't care how it's done, they have fallen into some
Mhm.
mishaps with contracts. And we try to help authors maneuver that a little bit better than they would by themselves. And oftentimes, agents come with the experience of themselves, but also of their agency. And we're able to lean on one another. And I have an incredible mentor, Blythe Daniel. And so anytime I have questions or haven't seen something before, I run it by her. Or if there just needs to be another set of eyes or whatever, we've got each other to do that. And I think it's like most things in life, it's always better with somebody by your side. And that's what agents are able to do. Oftentimes, we will help make sure your proposal is in top notch shape before it goes to an editor. We kind of help you pick out some of the things in your manuscript that maybe don't belong or could be used differently. And so there's a variety of ways that were helpful and beneficial and just can help you take the next best step
Mhm.
for you in publishing.
I
Uh,
also know that, from a personal, from personal experience, I'm sure Taryn can jump in on this as well, that an agent is the go-between. So that if there's an issue, an editorial
Mhm.
issue, or anything that you don't want to upset the relationship so much between the writer and the house,
Mhm.
that it's the role of the agent to step in
Yeah,
and to be on, to be the voice of the
right.
writer who for so many years had no voice.
Yeah.
I know that I'm on my second agent because my first one retired. And she was marvelous, absolutely marvelous to work with. So now I'm on my second agent and she's been a pure joy as well. But the fact that both of my agents in the past have been willing to take my manuscript and give it the once, twice, 20 times over and to make sure it's the best that it can be before it goes out to a publishing house. And without a doubt, I would not be published if it weren't for their eyes on the manuscript.
Mhm.
It's just that critique one more time, a fresh
Mhm.
set of eyes on it. So
Mhm.
I find an agent absolutely invaluable. And the fact that y'all can weed through all the legalese that's in the
Yeah.
contracts is also just so, so helpful. Um, Considering or talking about contracts and things that you accept and don't accept to get those contracts, what
Mhm.
are you personally looking for? What are you acquiring and what are you not acquiring so that our conferees can be prepared on that front?
Good question. Um, so, what I look for is usually a person that I can work well with because most of the time, a proposal isn't quite ready when it comes to me, or a manuscript isn't quite ready for me. Um, but if I can give somebody some feedback and they take it and run with it and
Mhm.
they put it to work, even if it stinks a little bit, it generally comes out to be someone I can work with because they're it shows that they're serious. So I do work in nonfiction and fiction. I seem to be like in a season of more fiction work, but it bounces back and forth between fiction and nonfiction just naturally. Um, I do not do a lot with memoirs. I almost always try to get those converted into another genre in some way or another, just to really, I think most people want to use their story to help
Mhm.
others. And it's one of the hardest ways to use your story to help others. And so my brain just instinctually looks at how can we restructure this. So I typically don't do much with those. And I don't do a lot with children. But what happens is I'll acquire somebody or sign them on and we'll publish a project and they'll be like, by the way, this is my next project. They're like, I'm like, of course it is. Um, and I think that's how I got lured into fiction was I was doing only nonfiction. And then one of my clients was like, well, my next project's fiction. Do you want to do it or do you want me to take it somewhere else? And I'm like, I'll figure it out. So,
So a fiction
That,
agent was born.
no,
yes, yes.
exactly.
Well, and it was because I really wanted to keep the client. And I had another one who was like, I'm going to lure you to the dark side. And I'm like, no, you're not. And here I am.
One
So,
of the,
uh,
I often, as the president, or not the president, that's Taryn, the CEO of Word Weavers. Um, I often have people come to me with memoirs and they're like, this
mhm,
is my story. This is what happened to me. I want to tell it.
mhm,
And I'm just going to give a plug. I mean, I haven't seen this woman in over 20 years, but
mhm,
about 20 years ago, a woman named Jan Coleman wrote a book called After the Locust, which she has since, republished. She has given it a
mhm,
fresh face, fresh look. But what she did was she actually told her story, but she told it using nonfiction. and made it applicable to everybody and not just her. And I'm not a big nonfiction reader, but I met her at a conference. She gave me a copy of her book. I ended up reading it on the flight back and
Mhm.
was absolutely mesmerized because she was telling her story. And I wanted to know, well, what happened to her? Like how did
Right.
this work out for her? But she was pulling in the teaching at the
Mhm.
same time and the stories of others she had helped along the way. And so it's such a remarkable way of telling your story without telling your story. And
Yeah.
anytime somebody comes to me and says, I've got this memoir, I know that memoirs aren't very popular, I say, go get this book and just study it and write down,
Right.
how did she do this?
Right.
And because it's
Right.
still selling today, and that was over 20 years ago.
That's
And
incredible.
yeah, so I think that going back to the agent thing is that a good agent will help you figure that out. Just like you said, I'm looking at it as a memoir, and I'm like, how can we reshape this
Yeah.
to make it
Mhm.
sellable to the general
Right.
public? Because unless you're a very famous person,
Mhm.
a memoir is not always going to sell.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
Can I
yeah.
ask you if you like let's say someone comes to you and they have a fantastic, let's say well they have a fantastic book, but it's not for you. Like you're just not, this isn't for you, but there's another agent
Mhm.
within the agency that you think it might be a good fit for. Do agents share manuscripts within the same agency?
Yes. Um, I think Blythe more so than me, and then we have a new agent who just started this summer, Cynthia. So Blythe has filtered more over our way, just because she takes on more clients than we do, and she's like, I don't have space, but this is a good one. You interested? And so she passes things along that way, and then if I had some that I thought would be better for her or Cynthia, I would do the same.
Mhm.
Um, so yes, it does happen. And we've referred people to other agents as well, like outside of our agency. We've recommended, like, hey, this isn't something that we really do, but we know this agency does. They may be a better fit. And so we've said, go talk to them. Um, and sometimes I'll give the agent a heads up that, hey, this is what I said, because by the time they get over to that agent, the story isn't always exactly as it was. So,
Telephone game.
So,
yeah.
Stephanie, what advantage does someone have by coming to a conference and sitting down and meeting with an agent versus just sending in a proposal or a query?
So a lot of times you get that personal connection, the one-on-one time, the face-to-face. You just cannot duplicate that no matter how hard we try. And so, like I said at the beginning, I look for people that I can get along with and work really well with. And I think you pick up on that when you meet in person. And so when somebody comes and meets with me, I tend to remember them and they stand out. And so like if I've asked them to send me their proposal, I'm kind of keeping an eye out for it. And so if it actually shows up, which side note, it's surprising how many you ask for that don't actually get sent. And it could be that they've met somebody else or realize they got to do some work or whatever the case may be. But um y- I keep an eye out for that and then I remember it and then you get more feedback.
Yeah.
I think you get the chance to ask better questions. Like when you just send it to the agency without having met us before, you don't have the opportunity to make any kind of adjustments or add in any, like if you asked a question in our meeting or if we had
Mhm.
a meal together or coffee or something and I suggest something or recommend something, you can go and adjust it before you send it to me. And you don't have that opportunity when you just
Yeah.
blindly send it or do a cold
Yeah.
submission, basically.
Well, I believe Les Dobie, who's an icon in our industry,
Hmm.
once said that 80% of what he asked to see never gets to his desk. And he genuinely asked. And what I have learned over the 30 years that I've been in the industry is that uh, by the time they get home, conferees often have talked themselves out of any positivity that they got
Mhm.
at the conference. Like somehow, it's like the devil on this shoulder, an angel on this shoulder, and the devil is whispering a whole lot louder than the angel.
Mhm.
He's saying, they didn't really mean that. You're not really very good. Or they will meet someone who they think, oh, this person is so much better than me. So why would anybody be interested in what I have to write or what I have to say? And I've also talked with those who get home and they're very excited and they tell their family and their friends, oh my gosh, I met with Stephanie Alton from the Blythe Daniel Agency, and she really liked my work. She wants me to work on it just a little bit, add this, take away that, and send it in. And they say, oh, I'm sure she says that to everybody.
Yeah.
And boom, there it goes.
Right,
They're
right,
just like, oh, you're right. She probably does. Well, here's the truth, people, and listen up. They don't say it to everybody. They
right,
really, really don't. They
right,
don't want extra work coming into their
right.
office if they don't have to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So better to say at the conference, this is wonderful, or this needs a little bit of work, but I don't think it's right for
right,
our agency. Then they're not going to do that. I'm just going to tell you
right.
straight up front, they're not going to do that. And also the other thing that I've seen over the years is um, someone will contact me right after a conference. Can you professionally edit this for me? I need it done within 24 hours because Stephanie Alton is waiting on it. She said I should send this in after I get done with
Right,
the conference.
right,
She didn't mean tomorrow. I
right.
promise you, she
Yeah,
did not mean tomorrow.
Just
right, right,
establish a
Right.
timeline.
Yeah.
right. I
Yeah,
would almost
exactly.
I would rather wait for someone to send it. If they're going to have it edited, it's going to be in so much better shape when
Yes.
it comes to me. I would rather wait a little longer for it to have
Yeah.
it edited than uh, to not have it edited. So,
Right. And then to
but
be bombarded, right
yeah,
after you get
yeah,
back to the office,
yeah,
it's like there's enough sitting on my desk that I left. And
yeah,
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 let's just give it a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Now
right.
what about for those who ask,
Hmm.
how long, like I worked on it for 2 or 3 weeks to a month. I then sent it in. It has now been 3 months. I did not get a receipt, like received. I did not hear back.
Uh-huh.
And we all know what happens in, cyberspace. How
Right.
long should they wait before they just do this little gentle prod of I just want to make sure you received my work?
I think most agencies have something posted anywhere from 6 weeks to 12
Mhm.
weeks, maybe up to 4 months. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, so I think those are helpful because we have the best of intentions, but we all have life happening, lots of things going on. And sometimes it just gets buried down in there. And we have like, oh, I'm going to look at that. And then something on fire happens and you've got to tend to it. And it just gets buried further and further. So I don't mind those reminders. Hey, I haven't heard from you. And then I'll do my best to like, oh, yeah, I really wanted to look at that one. And do it. So those are helpful. Um, and then sometimes it is just a no. So
Yeah.
it's tricky. But honestly, I don't mind those reminders. And generally, like I'm like, oh, that person really is serious about it. So it wasn't just, hey, I'm going to throw it out there and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Which I mean that happens and it isn't a bad approach at times, but it kind of shows they really do want to work with me, and so I'll take another look at it.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone is on the fence about coming, we strongly recommend you come to FCWC, meet with the
Mhm.
agents, get those appointments.
Mhm.
I met my two agents at FCWC.
Mhm.
And we were talking earlier, I would not be published today if it weren't for an agent. So,
Yeah.
and I love my publishing house.
Yeah.
They
Mhm.
bumped, I think, Macmillan out, and they're now one of the top five. So, like, I love the work my agents have done. So,
Mhm.
and you heard Stephanie say, it's kind of a step up. It's kind of a plus in your favor if you're able to meet with an agent face to face because you just become more memorable. Your
Yes.
Mhm.
work kind of tends to go to the top of the pile as opposed to
Right.
one of many emails that have to be opened when she returns. So.
And
Yeah.
also that sometimes there's just a connection,
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like, man, I wish that 15 minutes was longer because we so
No.
totally connected. And I know with my very first editor, my first acquisitions editor, who I met at a convention, not a conference, but at a convention, she and I clicked immediately. It was like we had known each other forever. And 9 days later, she's calling me saying, I got a contract for you. Wow.
Nice.
And I mean, just,
Yeah.
to this day, I think the world of her. Um, so yeah, face to face is always going to be so much better. Final question, and then we'll let you go. Is that a crown in the picture behind you?
I was
It
looking at
is.
that too. And is
Um,
string? Is it one of those string pieces where it's made of
no,
nails and string?
um, it's a scripture. And it says, they will sparkle in his land like jewels in a crown. And it's Isaiah
Oh my
9:16.
goodness,
Oh,
I
wait, no,
love that. She
Zechariah.
couldn't get it out.
Zachariah?
Okay.
Zachariah. I'm glad I wear real pants too.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, and I had to ask because last week I was in the home of Jane Jenkins Herlon, who
Mhm,
was Miss South Carolina, and there is this incredible portrait of her with her crown, and
mhm,
her crown is encased,
Oh,
in a
wow.
cabinet. And so I took a picture of the crown. It was as big as I thought it was going to be.
Oh.
So, but it's beautiful after all of these years. And sorry,
yeah.
Jane, I'm not saying you're old. But like our friend Janet Rollins says, she was Miss South Carolina as well. And she's like, that was so 1900s. Which I love that. I love that about them
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you again, Stephanie. We look forward to October, everyone. It is word-weavers.com/Florida events to find out more about our faculty, about how to register, about our classes and our workshops and everything that we have to offer. And Taryn was putting on her glasses, and I thought she was about to put on a crown. So we
Oh,
do
imaginary.
that, yes,
Imaginary.
we do hope to see you there. And if you have any questions, just shoot us an email through the contact page. Taryn,
I
anything else?
think that was it. Yes,
Well,
the single rooms are filling up fast. We do have double rooms. There are still single rooms available, but if you're thinking you really want a single room, I would recommend and suggest and all of that you do it sooner rather than later.
yes, absolutely. Okay, so until next time, you guys have a great day, and just thanking God that Stephanie wore pants.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, sometimes it could have been like athletic shorts
Right.
or something.
You just come
You
into the
probably,
pool.
yeah,
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 yeah. You
yeah.
could
Because
have.
I'm gonna be honest. Nice blouse, but I'm wearing athletic shorts right now because I got to get back on the treadmill. All right, bye everyone.
All right,
Bye.
bye.